What's going on, everybody? Great night of basketball. The Open Finals. The Celtics exploded in the fourth quarter to take Game One. Um, Cardell, your thoughts on the fourth quarter? Where do you want to start? Break down this game. You want to just start at the fourth? You want to work our way through it? Floor is yours.
Look, man. A lot of people favor the Warriors because of experience, man. But I felt like the Celtics. This why it's been a tough pick for me, and I couldn't decide. Is because the Celtics have the advantage up front, and you saw that in the full quarter. I mean, let's just be real. Jaylen Brown and Derek Wright carried them for the first three quarters. They kept them within striking range, striking distance. You know what I mean? And that worried me because when the Warriors even went on their third quarter run, I was like, all right, but the Celtics didn't really go away. I'm like, this is trouble. If somebody wake up, it could be trouble for him. And you was kind of looking at Tatum, and Tatum didn't have it going, but he made great decisions with the ball. He had 13 assists, and he shot 3 of 17, and gotta give Andrew Wiggins credit. To hold somebody like that to 3 for 17, that's hard to do. But it came down to the front court, and I believe in turnovers, scoring off of turnovers, and the front court play, and that was the difference in the game. And I feel like that's where the Celtics have the advantage with Al Horford, Rob Williams, and even Tice coming in, man. I think the Celtics had their front court had 37 points and 13 rebounds, and the Warriors front court was Draymond and Looney, 8 points, 20 rebounds. Pretty much that's it. Like they only had 8 points and 20 rebounds. That can't happen. Draymond was 2 for 12. Looney was 1 for 4. Like they have to score, and that's what I'm worried about because I don't know if they're gonna be able to score enough to match what Horford and what Rob Williams will bring offensively. You know what I mean? In their own unique ways. Especially when the guards break down guys. Smart, Tatum, Jaylen Brown was just relentless attacking. White, Pritchard, all those guys, man, when they get in the paint. So that ended up being the difference in the game, man. Al Horford, I mean, he just bombed him. He Lord Jesus, he bombed him dog, 6 for 8 for 3. That's what made it that's what made it stand out more. Draymond's play, man. Where you didn't score the ball well, and Al Horford got loose on you. And normally that don't happen with Draymond. Normally, if he ain't scoring, then the other person ain't scoring either. And that was the difference in the game, and when the full quarter, when the Boston Celtics run came on, when they went on their run, the Warriors can hit shots, start getting frustrated, and then they look like the inexperienced team, and Boston looked like they've been there and done that. And 40-point quarter in the fourth quarter to close out the game, like that's sick. And that's right after the Warriors had a 38 quarter. Like they thought they knocked them out, and it's like, nah, dog. Like they don't go nowhere until the clock hits 0. So the only reason why this is I guess a shock and loss, all the everybody gonna hype it up moving forward is because until game 2 is because we don't see this from the Warriors. Mm-hmm. But we've talked about this in the past where we said with the Warriors, they can get up big, but they'll let you back in the game.
Yep.
Silly turnovers, bad shots, and that's your chance to get in. And against the Celtics, the way they defend and the way how deep they are with the way they can score the ball from a variety of positions, that's a dangerous dynamic. So the Warriors have to clean this stuff up, man. You know what I'm saying? They had a long layoff. You could tell they was kind of fatigued a little bit. We'll see how they rebound, man. But for the Warriors, if you take away Steph and Wiggins, Otto Porter hit some shots, Iguodala gave him good minutes, you got nothing else from nobody else. Meanwhile, Boston, their entire starting 5, Derek White and Pritchard came in. That's 7 guys. That's not going to get it done, man. So we'll see how it goes on game 2.
Yeah, you talked about the front court. And then even one of the things about how Boston was able to stay in it was in the non-smart minutes, they got good play from their guards, from their point guards. And obviously it's only game 1, but the Derek White, Jordan Poole thing in this game, it was huge It was huge in this game. So Derek White had 21 points. I think Poole had what Poole have? I'm sorry. Poole had 9 points, but he had 4 turnovers.
Yep, on 2 of 7, 1 of 5.
And literally, like you were talking about, the end of the third quarter, Golden State up, he's up 13-15. He gets plucked by Tatum coming up court. Tatum gets I think a quick layup or ended up being a lob to Rob or what have you. They get a quick, easy. So thank you. I'm sorry. They get a quick 2, and then Jalen starts the fourth quarter on fire, and then they're going. But again, that little stretch of, we've talked going into this series, we talked all playoffs. Shit, since the Warriors been together, one of their biggest issues is when they get to turning the ball over, how damaging it is. And for them, they've always had a knack for their turnovers always happen to be live ball turnovers. Mm-hmm. It's never the other kind. They're always live. It is usually and tonight, the end of the third, when they took Steph off the court. I think they took Steph, Wiggs, and Loon off the court at the end of the third. So I'm interested to see what Steve does with that, because I don't think until Jordan can get comfortable on the stage, you can't give him the same leeway you had before, honestly. Because I think the game was done right there.
Yeah.
Honestly, because you had a chance, a couple stable possessions right there. You trade baskets, everything's love, but you lost ground. Then Jalen got rolling, and then instead of being up 15 or 17 at the end of the third, then you could go your normal thing where Steph rests a little bit, what have you. Those minutes again, Derek White, credit to him, he killed those minutes. The non-smart, non-Curry minutes, the Celtics won game 1 in that regard, and it's something to keep an eye on going forward.
Right, and Poole, we could say, man, the lights got to him a little bit. Mm-hmm. The finals lights got to him. Even that one pass to Iguodala, who's wide open the side, he threw it so bad. Iguodala, whose wingspan is 10'2", he couldn't even reel it in, dog. And they encouraging him, but it's just he wasn't. And that's a great point you made with Steve Kerr. Poole wasn't ready for that, and I felt like when he had Wiggs and Steph on the bench that fourth quarter. When it started getting ugly, he should have got them right back in. Because by the time he got them back in, it was too tough to stop the bleeding. And then by the time they got back in, Al Horford got a rhythm. But now Jalen got a rhythm, Derek White got a rhythm, Peyton Pritchard got a rhythm, and then Marcus Smart came in and he had a rhythm because everybody else had a rhythm. Tatum ain't even need to score.
And I think honestly, obviously it's only one game. I don't think they can have Wiggins and Steph off the court at the same time.
They can't have Wiggins off at all because of his defense. He the only dude that can really get he the only dude that got stops tonight. It was crazy.
He was off the floor in the start of the fourth when Jalen got the boogieing, right?
Yeah, and he was if you look at it throughout the game, he started on Tatum. So for most of the game he was on Tatum, but he was switching on to everybody. Even when Derek White hit those threes, you notice when he got back in the game, they put Wiggins on him. And Derek, you ain't hear from Derek no more. But by that time, Al Horford had it going. Mm-hmm. So it's they used Wiggins was literally the only one to get started. We could say it. The Celtics attacked Poole, Steph, and Clay relentlessly. Yeah. They went right at them to tire them out. And Clay held his own in some possessions.
Yeah, in spurts late. Yeah.
Yeah, some possessions he got cooked. Steph, they went at him for size, drew a lot of fouls on him and stuff like that. Poole was just food. It was bad. They were just getting past him in the first move. That's what I think rattled him more so than the lights. Mm-hmm. It was the fact that he was getting cooked on the stage, dog, and that's tough. And then he couldn't give it back because you gotta understand who you're dealing with. Yep. Which is why I'd be like, man, you gotta have your defense on point because when you ain't making shots and you ain't getting stops, dog, you gotta sit, bro. You just out there.
I'm really. Oh, my fault. So, but I was just saying, I'm really interested to see how you tweak that because in previous series we saw some bench minutes for some of the kids, but I don't know. Again, it's a different stage. But like you said, there was a couple people they were hunting, and decision will have to be made. I'm interested in seeing what those decisions are. Again, it's only one game; it's not the end of the world because I know some people are gonna take this and go. The finals is over. Da 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 da. Boston took game one. Hell of a job. Kudos to them for taking game one. Stolen home court. But again, it's the
just
first
let the
game of the
Warriors
series.
up. They was up through 3 quarters, down there double figures. So they were right there. They just didn't close well. They just they didn't have any poise down the stretch, and
At all.
it showed. You know what I'm saying? They just look rattled, and that's uncharacteristic for them, especially to be at home. Like if they would have did it at Boston, I would feel a little bit different
Right.
about it. Like, all right, cool. On the road, young team and stuff like that. But like I keep saying, man, it seemed like Steph Wiggs, Otto, and Iguodala. Those are only 4 players that looked like they was ready to go. Everybody else was kind of, I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? Clay woke up, but they're going to need Clay to get stops. And it's tough because he's dealing with Jaylen Brown. You know what I'm saying? But, well, if Jaylen Brown, we're going to get what he got, 24, Clay can't have 15. He got had 20-something too.
Oh. And the thing I love what Jaylen Brown did, man, he put his head down and got to the rack. That's when everything changed in fourth. Because he only shot 2 at 8 from 3. But he was getting to the rack and the playmaking of both of those guys. We talked about them in spurts with how much they handle the ball, how much they're responsible for carrying that the weight that they carry for Boston. I thought they both did a great job playmaking tonight. Obviously, Tatum definitely did with the 13 assists. What I was worried about, again, looking at both teams, well, how the guys who have the ball all the time for both teams, how well they take care of the ball. You got Draymond and Poole, they turn that thing over several times. And then with Tatum and Brown, what was it? I think Brown had 4. Tatum only had 2, the 13 assists, while shooting horribly. And credit to him for making the right play more often than not, even though.
Poise. He's poised. Yeah. That's one thing I love about this game. He's just poised. It's hard to speed him up. You know what I'm saying? Even though he wasn't hitting shots. But then, like, look, Grant Williams, 0. Like, he ain't been heard from since the Bucks series. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. Pritchard's 14 was huge. Not 14.
8. But he had 8, 6, and 2, 6 rebounds too. So, like, it's little things like that. Like, why is Peyton Pritchard in 16 minutes getting 6 rebounds, dog? Like, that's Steph and them. That's on Steph and them. And that's the thing with the Warriors where they lose games, man. There's little details where they kind of ignore it, especially when they hitting shots. And you can't do that with Boston because, see, Boston, the entire team hustles. So they're going to get those 50-50 balls and stuff, and they're going to make you pay. So the Warriors got to match that young energy and get some of those balls, man. It's as simple as that. It can't just be 1 or 2 players. It got to be everybody.
And then piggyback off what you were talking about, you talked about what the Boston front court did offensively. Keep in mind, as gifted and as much trouble that Horford and Williams, the damage they've caused throughout the playoffs on the glass, they only combined for 12 boards. That meant the rest of the boards came from the perimeter players to hammer home your point you just made. Jaylen Brown led them in rebounding with 7. Pritchard was second with 6. Obviously, the 2 bigs had 6 apiece, but again, everybody had 5 boards on the team. It felt like at least 5.
Yeah, I mean,
played tonight.
In the start, like Draymond rebounded well. He had a game high 11. Wiggins had 5, which is good for a shooting guard wing. Looney had 9. Steph had 5 rebounds. Clay only had 2. Porter had 4, and that was it. And Boston's bench outplayed the Warriors' bench, man. But Steve Kerr didn't really go that deep into his bench, man. And that kind of showed, man, because as you can see, his starting minutes down there everybody down there played 40.
With it being the finals, I guess my question is, we want to wrap up this discussion. Do you anticipate him, because we got to think the further down the bench they go, like they're younger. You anticipate him throwing him in there, or because the only reason I'm asking, go ahead, my bad, go ahead, answer first.
I think he's gonna play Looney more. 25 minutes is crazy, especially he wasn't in foul trouble.
Yeah,
I think he did a good job helping out with Horford and Robert Williams. It's just that it's the NBA, man. When somebody get in the rhythm, it's hard to turn that water off, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Once they get going. But yeah, I would love to see Kuminga get in there. I think you should do what got you here and see how they respond, man. Then you'll know within a minute or two.
Right.
And they ain't got it, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, bring it back out. But I like Iguodala. I like what Otto Porter brought. You know, they ready to go. You know what I'm saying? They get their first ring. But Kuminga, I think Kuminga, and if Gary Payton's healthy, throw him in there. Guys like that, I think those two for sure. They should get minutes to see what they are. You know what I'm saying? Because you can need them. Like you can throw Gary Payton, like Jaylen Brown. Yo, go get him.
Mm-hmm.
Make him work a lot more. See now it ain't as easy. Derek White, go get him. See now it ain't as easy to just get going. You know, Kuminga, his athleticism, he'll help out on the boards if they get in the lane. His athleticism helps side blocks and stuff like what Wiggins was doing. Now you got two dudes going for that. That stuff matters. Altering shots, that stuff matters. Now 50-50 balls, loose balls. You got a young athletic kid running them Jones down, and you got somebody that's running in transition, lob threats and stuff to get you easy points. Sometimes I feel like the Warriors even. When they were winning championships with KD and stuff like that. That's why KD made him a star because he would get easy baskets.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Where they don't necessarily have that at that well, definitely don't have KD, but they don't have that at that level no more. So and sometimes they can fall in love with the three too much, you know what I'm saying? And that kind of adds on to the misery of what's going on when they're falling. So yeah, I expect him to get some minutes. I think, you know, like I said, game one, Celtics got it, but it was a filling out process and stuff like that. So we're gonna see how they adjust, man. But I expect those two at least to get more minutes.
Yeah, the reason, my bad for trying to cut you off earlier. The reason I was asking is I was just thinking, you know, in past series, like you're talking about, one, they've already done it. And then two, we're talking about the other players on Boston hitting the glass, doing things of that nature. And the kids, I'm excluding Gary Payton, but talk about Kuminga or Moody in little spurts. They're physically bigger.
Yeah, than
Poole and some of the other guys. They're of slighter builds. Those two are put together a little bit better. Where if you're gonna go deal with Boston, even in little spurts, it can't hurt. Because what we saw tonight again, their two bigs only had 12 boards. The rest of the team went to work on the glass. And the minutes when, like you said, the non-Loon minutes, the non-Steph minutes, the non-Wiggins minutes. Again, it's only game one, but you know, you can't die like that in those minutes when they're off the court. Especially when, you know, Boston's coming in, regardless who's coming on the floor. They're comfortable. They're getting production out of their guys coming off the bench, and you're not getting anything.
Right.
Anything else you wanted to add?
No, sir.
All right, so guys, we'll be doing this throughout the finals. You know, follow Focus TV. Obviously, need you guys to do that. Then get over to FocusTV.com, and in our respective YouTube pages, we'll have post game sound and things of that nature up. So we'll see you guys Sunday night for game two. Y'all have a great evening and a good day tomorrow.